The territory of Uzbekistan was a global trading center many years before globalization. Its historic cities flourished for thousands of years as major trading posts along the Great Silk Road. But in time, the country's glory faded, and it had lost much of its influence long before it was absorbed into the Soviet Empire. Even after it gained its independence in 1991, international trade was stifled as the country quarreled with its near neighbors, closed its borders, and minimized contact with the outside world. But now there are signs that a new chapter is being written in the nation's history. Sweeping changes have been announced aimed at opening up society, promoting the private sector, and encouraging enterprise. But how genuine are these reforms? We'll travel the country and talk to opinion leaders across its regions and beyond its borders to gauge whether Uzbekistan is truly open for business. In the last few years, there's been a palpable sense of change on the streets of Uzbekistan. After decades of repression, you could say that the windows have been thrown open, and the country is welcoming ideas and influences from all corners of the world. Among the key drivers of this change, naturally, are economics.
Trade between Uzbekistan and its neighbours is increasing very significantly. Really, with every single neighbour, you've seen an increase of, say, 30, even 50% year on year over the last couple of years.
Tariffs disappeared. You can get across borders without visas now. You see cars on the streets of Tashkent from Kazakhstan, from Tajikistan. You're going to see investments that are joint between Uzbeks and Kazakhs, Uzbeks and Tajiks, Tajiks and Kazakhs. This is all just beginning to happen, mainly in the younger generation.
And the potential for this within the region is tremendous. Anywhere around the world, the most important, largest volume trading relationships tend to be intra-region. And that's absolutely potentially true here. The biggest benefits, the biggest opportunities for the people of the region to improve their economic conditions lie in more intra-regional trade. So that's something we very warmly welcome. It's good for the people of the region. It's good for the economic stability of the region.
But for some analysts, however welcome intra-regional trade may be, it won't go far enough towards addressing the country's real needs.
Since the neighboring states are not particularly rich and do not have a strong industrial sector, I believe that the effect of the rapprochement with Kyrgyzstan and Tajikistan will be relatively small. But a double landlocked country like Uzbekistan is absolutely reliant on having good relations with its neighbors, so that it can make contact with the world through their territories. That's vital. The crucial thing for Uzbekistan is that they need money from abroad to modernize their economy and develop it.
It is a kind of revolution from above that is slowly being adopted by the people. The population is reviving, people feel more free. But alongside the positives, there are also risks that we can't afford to ignore. In this country, there is a social gap. There are social problems, social abuses, and these problems can only be tackled through a prospering economy. One reason why foreign investment is urgently needed is to help create jobs for a young and rapidly growing population. Every year, 700,000 new babies are born in Uzbekistan, and a similar number of young people enter the employment market.
This is the moment in its development trajectory when Uzbekistan needs to be seizing the demographic opportunity and reaping the demographic dividend. But at the moment, it's not able to do that because its economy isn't generating enough jobs. And so, President Mirziyoyev has been very clear that he gets that the private sector, that developing entrepreneurship, developing enterprise in the country is really the only way that the economy is going to seize the opportunity of all of these impressive young Uzbeks entering the marketplace, which means less state control, not more, such that the entrepreneurs that this country has aplenty can help create the jobs that the country needs.
To help ease the transition to a market economy, Uzbekistan has enlisted advice and support from international bodies, including the Asian Development Bank and the World Bank. In the past 12 months, we have implemented a very large program in Uzbekistan worth $1.7 billion. The business climate and atmosphere created in Uzbekistan is impressive, in particular for carrying out activities for small private enterprises. Very rapid reforms are underway, and the Republic's economy is now showing a 5% growth. On the part of the World Bank, we are committed to continuing to assist in the further growth of the economy of Uzbekistan and the creation of jobs. Ultimately, all that can translate into a better livelihood for the people. It's clear why the World Bank has commended Uzbekistan's reforms, especially in the economic sphere. Uzbekistan is one of the world's top 10 countries with the largest scale of reforms. A lot of work has been done, and many obstacles have been removed, for instance, in the conversion sphere. Deep reforms have also been carried out in the legislative field, in the sphere of privatization. The reforms are still in progress, and German business is happy with this. A central part of the liberalization process, and of the drive to bring in foreign investment, has been the opening up of Uzbekistan's media. Over the last few years, I've seen that journalists in Uzbekistan have become significantly more active, more spirited and more critical. I also believe that the media world has become fresher and more vibrant. We are absolutely free today. We are not under any kind of control, and this is very important for our national press, which in the last 2 years has enjoyed significant development in the field of freedom of speech. And our guys today work freely and create their own reports. These are critical reports, analytical reports, and that's what the audience likes. There is a kind of Uzbek perestroika taking place in all areas of society, from domestic politics and free enterprise to civil rights. Political prisoners have been released. In addition, Uzbekistan is now working extremely hard towards bringing in investment from other countries and is carrying out economic reforms. I firmly believe that it is in both Germany's and Europe's interest that we wish Uzbekistan's campaign great success, so that there is as much exchange as possible between Europe and Uzbekistan.
Uzbekistan and Central Asia have just about as much claim to being the heartland of Islam as the Arab world. I mean, the second holiest book of Islam was written by a guy from Bukhara. Sufism, the great mystical current in Islam, arose mainly from here. Because of this, these very bold and very open reforms, which include legal reforms, parliamentary reforms, the rights of defendants in courts, you name it, fundamental economic reforms, making a convertible currency for the first time. All these many, many reforms are bound to become, if they succeed, a model in the Muslim world because they've preserved the secular state. This formula may, if they succeed, have a big impact in the broader world.
Breaking news tonight, the deadly massive storm